She said it in front of the whole classroom, in a voice so small and so sure that nobody laughed. Nobody corrected her. And for 3 full seconds, I forgot how to breathe. My daughter looked up at her teacher, reached for her hand instead of mine, and said the word, "Mom," like she had said it 1,000 times before. And the woman kneeling in front of her, a stranger to me just 8 weeks earlier, did not flinch. She did not correct her. She simply smiled, and something in my chest cracked wide open. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, in the quiet ways broken families find healing, then before we go any further, tap that like button. Leave a comment, share this with someone who needs a little hope today, and subscribe to the channel because stories like this one deserve to be heard by more than just us. My name is Grace Whitfield, and 8 months before that moment in the classroom, I was a widow raising a 6-year-old named Hope alone in a small rented house outside Nashville, Tennessee. My husband, Caleb, had died in a highway accident on his way home from a late shift. And in the months that followed, Hope stopped speaking much at all. She stopped drawing the pictures she used to leave on the refrigerator. She stopped asking questions at bedtime. The school counselor gently suggested that Hope needed more than what I could give her at home. More structure, more warmth, more patience than a grieving mother running on 4 hours of sleep could manage some days. That was when Hope was placed in Mrs. Bennett's first grade classroom. Her name was Susan Bennett, a woman in her 50s who had taught for nearly 3 decades and who, I would later learn, had lost her own daughter to illness many years before I ever met her. She never told the class that she simply showed up every single day with an endless well of patience for children who needed it most. At first, Hope wouldn't speak to her either. She would sit in the back row with her knees pulled to her chest, refusing to touch her crayons, refusing to eat her lunch. Susan didn't push. She would kneel beside Hope's desk every morning, not to force conversation, but simply to sit there, present, unhurried, letting my daughter know that somebody was willing to wait as long as it took. Weeks passed before Hope drew her first picture again. A small yellow house with 3 figures standing outside it, and handed it wordlessly to Susan instead of me. I remember feeling a flicker of something complicated when Hope told me about it that evening. Gratitude tangled together with a grief I didn't know how to name. I wasn't angry. I was simply a woman trying to understand how much space grief leaves behind and who gets to fill it. Then came the school's family morning, the day I walked into that classroom to see my daughter's projects on display, and watched Hope run not to me first, but to Susan, wrapping her arms around her waist and saying the word that changed everything. "Mom." I stood frozen in the doorway. Susan's eyes met mine over Hope's head, searching my face for permission, for forgiveness, for something. And in that instant, I understood that correcting my daughter would only teach her that love has to be measured out carefully, rationed, protected. So instead, I walked forward, knelt down beside them both, and said nothing, except that I was glad Hope had 2 people in the world who loved her enough to be there. In the month since, Susan has become something neither of us quite has a word for. Not a replacement, never that, but an anchor, a second heartbeat in our small family of 2. She comes to Hope's birthday now. She sits with us at church some Sundays. And Hope, my quiet, grieving little girl, laughs again, draws again, asks endless bedtime questions again. If this story touched your heart even a little, if it reminded you that healing sometimes arrives in the most unexpected shape, please take a moment to like this video and share it with someone who might need it today. And before you go, I'd love for you to leave a comment below and tell me, do you believe family can be built by more than blood alone? Because Hope taught me that love was never meant to be rationed, and that sometimes the family we need finds us exactly when we're ready to let it in.